So what is your name, where are you from, and what year are you?
My name's Declan Harris. I'm from New York City and I'm a junior.
So I wanted to ask a little bit about your musical background. So what instruments do you play and when did you start playing them?
So I play guitar. That's been my main instrument since I was 11 or 12 years old. So I've played that for about 10 years. And then I've recently, as of 2 years ago, started playing bass a lot and sort of picked that up pretty quickly. I really enjoy playing it as much as I do guitar now. And then I'm working on learning mandolin and drums.
Very cool. So why do you play music?
Well, I think it was a matter of circumstance, like upbringing being one factor, and then just a penchant for it being another. I remember I was searching under my father's bed for Christmas presents, and I found his old guitar, which is a 1988 Gibson SG. And I opened it up, and I was like, "Oh my God, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen." Because like at that point I was still a big rock fan by then, so I had seen pictures of like people playing a guitar that looked exactly like that. And I was like, okay, that I want to learn. So that was the catalyst for guitar. And then the other major event was I didn't really gel with my first teacher, and over the summer of like my second year of playing guitar, I was still sort of struggling. And we found this new teacher named Bosco, who is total hippie, played in an Allman Brothers tribute band, literally had a ponytail to his hips. And we would just jam all day. Instead of like learning this song and this song, he would play some chord progression and I'd solo over it, and then I'd play the same chord progression and he'd solo over it, and then we'd review, like he's like showing me like, oh, you can do this, and instead of just that. And that was the most formative experience musically I've had to date. And after that, it just like took off on its own and became this huge thing. So yeah.
What role did music play in your childhood? Did your parents influence what music you listened to? Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, definitely. My parents definitely influenced what I listened to, like to a huge extent. My dad is sort of a disguised deadhead. You would never think it, but he's been to like 22 Grateful Dead shows or something. So, yeah. So, I mean, we would go out to my grandmother's house a lot, and like a 2-hour car drive, and like every weekend. And the whole 2 hours was like Grateful Dead. And my mom would sometimes then have a little reggae, which I also really like. And at first I was like, oh God, Grateful Dead, like I can't stand it. Like, turn it off, put the reggae on, put something else on, put the Rolling Stones on. And then after a long time, I grew to really like it. And they're, like, to date, definitely my favorite, most listened to band. I'm sort of obsessed. So that was a huge factor. And then he also just, casually things he would listen to on his own time. And he plays guitar, so I would overhear him play guitar, ask him what things were. So yeah, a lot from my dad, his music taste, but not entirely. I sort of found all these other things that I would grow to love, like jazz, which he wasn't into, and more funk related stuff, ambient music, which I really like, I found on my own. So, the core of it was formed by memories of what my father would listen to, but not entirely.
What type of music do you like to play, and how have you noticed that changing over the course of your life?
Originally, I liked to play what I could play, which was like blues, and I learned I Love Rock and Roll by Joan Jett and stuff like that. But now I like to play. I like a lot of metal. I play a lot of metal and I write a lot of metal. I like playing, funk type stuff on bass in particular. I'm definitely, like, sort of like I mentioned, I'm a big jam band fan, so I'm a little reluctant to learn parts. I like making up my own things and improvising more than anything. I could go on for hours doing it and just feel really happy. And then I also like, I write a lot of my own music. I play that on guitar, and it ranges from like poppy Beach Boys type stuff to country to metal. and I've definitely grown to love playing some bluegrass, especially with a teacher here who I have been learning with for the past year. So yeah, that sort of thing.
So you're in a band, correct?
Yes, I am in a band.
And so can you tell me about that experience? Do you write your own music?
Well, just to clarify, which band are you talking about?
Any.
Okay, I'm in two school bands here.
Okay.
Little Big Band and Jazz Ensemble, which is a big band, which gets a little convoluted. And then I'm in an extracurricular band. We play at parties and stuff like that. But in Jazz Ensemble, I play guitar, and I sort of enjoy Jazz Ensemble, to be honest. I think there's so many people in the band that it becomes overcrowded, and everybody would have to do their part perfectly right for it to sound good. And at our level, that's never going to happen. But and then I love Little Big Band. I play bass in Little Big Band, which has been really a cool role that I didn't think I would like, but I've enjoyed it. You get to define sort of the harmony and the rhythm at the same time. That's been great. That's been awesome.
Yeah, can you tell me about the
Extracurricular band? Yeah. So I just joined a band that's been on campus for about a year. One of their members graduated. He was a senior. And I had told the drummer in the Little Big Band, who's a member of this extracurricular band, if they ever need a guitarist, just count me in, I'd love to do it. So he texted me over the summer. And we've played one concert so far, but that's been awesome. I'm performing live in front of people that are actually like super enthused to be there and rowdy and stuff like that. It's great. It's really an interactive experience. We play mostly covers, but we're starting to write more as a band, so
that's
that'll be
wonderful.
fun.
So do you have any future music goals, any professional goals?
I'd love to be in a band, like I genuinely, although it's not totally financially feasible, so I sort of have to weigh my options a little bit. I think I'm a computer science minor. I would love to go into computer science, something to fall back on, but the true dream is to be in a band. Maybe, work for a record label, but yeah, being a band is the true number one dream. Right now, at least.
Yeah. What is your favorite way to experience music? And what I mean by that is, do you like listening to it by yourself? Do you like listening to it with others? Do you prefer just performing live, or do you like seeing like live performances?
My favorite is, my dad and I have a project that we work on, and we play together and we write songs together. We probably have like body of like 300 songs written now, none of them recorded fully. That's probably my favorite way to play music, because when we really mesh together, it sounds amazing. And, I really like the songs we write. But in terms of listening, I have a stereo setup that I've sort of accumulated over the past couple of years. It took a while to assemble, but I've got like, 2 big speakers and an interface and a record player, and just like listening it with really loud, and like one speaker on my right side of my head and one on the left is pretty awesome. And I could sit there just like thinking about the music, nothing else going on. That's nice, really trying to focus on it.
Yeah.
I actually have one more. Sorry,
Yeah,
I have
no,
one more.
exactly.
On the subway in New York, I would take an hour subway to high school every morning
Wow.
with 45 minutes, but it often felt like an hour. But listening with headphones on the subway, you're sort of being rocked awake in the morning. It's like the best thing ever. So that's a big one.
How has living in New York City influenced music in your life?
It's definitely, it definitely, I was exposed to a lot, especially in high school. I went to a middle school where I was not exposed to a lot, and then I went to a high school in the East Village in the lower part of New York City, which is like a cultural explosion. And that was like a very eye-opening, because not just in terms of music, but as it pertains to music, there was more jazz, there was, and you got a sense of like bands like Iggy Pop and the Stooges and the Velvet Underground, who are one of my all-time favorites. Like that's where they came from. That's where people like that actually played and like became famous. So you were in the center of something that there was a real potency to like I don't even know how to describe it fully. Like there's a lot going on. There's a lot going on that you can't fully quantify, but different styles of music, different types of players, lots of good players went to my high school. I think probably because I'm from New York, people grew up playing music. Yeah, that was awesome. And I miss New York because of that too. But yeah, a lot of the country rock I wouldn't have gotten if I hadn't come to Richmond, or if I hadn't gone and stayed out in the country with my grandmother or something like that. So yeah.
Do you often immerse yourself in the music scene where you are in the moment? Like, do you see a lot of shows in Richmond? How would you describe that?
I mean, I think the beginning of my college, like being in college, was pretty influenced by the pandemic. So I probably haven't seen as many as a lot of people, but I'm gonna see. I mean, I'd like to immerse myself in music wherever I am. So I haven't really done it in Richmond, but I have done it at the University of Richmond. Like I'm in a band here. I'm in 2 academic bands here. I work with a singer who's just my friend, like in here sometimes. We play music. I'm trying to get a gig at Slingshot right now, which would be awesome.
What is that?
It's just like it's a club in downtown Richmond, but they're like a sports games club. People go sometimes, and just to play one night there would be great. And in New York, I've seen a bunch of concerts, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, I think I have one final question for you. How has music helped you connect with other people?
I mean, yeah, definitely. It has. I think number one, like you meet people academically. Let me restart. You meet people in music classes, like that's sort of like the obvious side of it is like you come to class, you meet people, and you actually have to get to know them. So it's not like a class where a math class or something where you're like, oh, you go to class, you leave, you don't know anybody in the class. Like you actually have to meet these people, because if you're playing with them, you sort of have to form that bond a little bit in order to, like, you can't be strangers or enemies with the people you're trying to play with. And then I think there's a sense of like, wanting to be outgoing and trying to go out of your way to form bonds in music. Like the people in the band that I just joined a couple weeks ago, I mean, I'm already like really good friends with them. So, and I think that's partly because we just play music together. You're sort of bonding when you're playing parts together. I think there's something subconscious about it. I don't know how to describe it, but like if something works really well, at the end of it, you'll be like, wow, that was awesome. Like we should do that again. And then you keep doing it. I hope that answer made sense.
No, definitely. Thank you so much for your time. It was wonderful to hear about how music has played a role in your life.
Yeah, thank you. I really enjoyed it.